This is an analysis of Christine Ford's allegations against Brett Kavanaugh. It is not politically correct to critically question a woman's allegations against a man in the climate of our country right now, but we have to be honest and fair. Now, we know that the media will pick apart Brett Kavanaugh's every word. As an example, let's look at this quick clip from CNN.
Let's start with a claim that Kavanaugh made multiple times during that Senate hearing, that all of the people that Professor Christine Blasey Ford identified as having been at that party in 1982 have denied that the event in question, the sexual assault, took place. Take a listen.
I'm going to have to stop Mr. Jake Tapper right there because he is about to nitpick Brett Kavanaugh, so I have the right to nitpick this golden age journalist. The event in question was the gathering or the party where the 5 people that Christine Ford named supposedly went to a house together. All of the witnesses couldn't testify to the sexual assault because they wouldn't have been in the room to witness it, according to her. As you will see, the details of the event described by Ford appear to have changed from when they were originally recorded, and her current version doesn't make much sense either, as I will explain in this video. Most people in the mainstream media will pound the idea that her story is credible, but I make many points here that indicate otherwise.
I just want to re-emphasize, all 4 witnesses who are allegedly at the event have said it didn't happen. It's been investigated, and all 4 witnesses say it didn't happen. The core of why we're here is an allegation for which the 4 witnesses present have all said it didn't happen.
Is that true? Did all of the people identified as having been at that party in 1982 by Professor Blasey Ford say that the attack, quote, didn't happen? No.
Again, Tapper here is confusing the assault with the party. While it is true that them not remembering doesn't mean that the gathering didn't happen, but the point is that the basis of the allegation is that this group of people got together in a house, and that has not been corroborated by any of the witnesses that Ford named. And a critical point is that this party should have been memorable for these witnesses. I will explain why, but first some background. Ford and Kavanaugh went to private schools, separate schools. Ford reports that she went to a number of parties where Kavanaugh was present, but they didn't know each other well. This is the context in which the alleged sexual assault took place, at one of these parties. Those present, according to her, were Kavanaugh and his friend Mark, Ford and her friend Leland, and 2 other boys, PJ and an unknown.
One evening that summer, after a day of diving at the club, I attended a small gathering at a house in the Bethesda area. There were 4 boys I remember specifically being at the house: Brett Kavanaugh, Mark Judge, a boy named PJ, and 1 other boy whose name I cannot recall. I also remember my friend Leland attending.
Of the 5 known people there, if this sexual assault occurred, Christine Ford's high school friend Leland especially should have at least remembered the party. Again, I will explain exactly why she should have remembered.
When I got to the small gathering, people were drinking beer in a small living room, family room type area on the first floor of the house. I drank 1 beer. Brett and Mark were visibly drunk. Early in the evening, I went up a very narrow set of stairs leading from the living room to a 2nd floor to use the restroom.
You go to a party with your friend, and there are 4 other boys there, at least 2 of them are drunk. As you listen to Ford's story, I want you to think about how 2 female friends act when they go to a party like this.
When I got to the top of the stairs, I was pushed from behind into a bedroom across from the bathroom. I couldn't see who pushed me. Brett and Mark came into the bedroom and locked the door behind them.
She remembers an interesting detail of only having 1 beer, as if to say, hey, I am a reliable witness because I wasn't drunk. But Brett and Mark were said to have been visibly inebriated, but somehow they managed to run up the stairs and deftly sneak up behind Ford and push her into a room onto the bed with incredible efficiency. And what about the people downstairs? A party with only a few people. A young girl of 15 years old goes upstairs by herself, and 2 of the older boys follow? What do the remaining people downstairs think of this? What does Christine Ford's friend down in the living room think of this?
There was music playing in the bedroom. It was turned up louder by either Brett or Mark once we were in the room. I was pushed onto the bed and Brett got on top of me. I yelled, hoping that someone downstairs might hear me. Brett groped me and tried to take off my clothes. He had a hard time because he was very inebriated.
Again, if he was so inebriated, how did he manage to run upstairs with his friend and the 3 other people downstairs didn't notice? And she didn't see it coming either?
During this assault, Mark came over and jumped on the bed twice while Brett was on top of me. And the last time that he did this, we toppled over and Brett was no longer on top of me. I was able to get up and run out of the room. Directly across from the bedroom was a small bathroom. I ran inside the bathroom and locked the door. I waited until I heard Brett and Mark leave the bedroom, laughing, and loudly walk down the narrow stairway, pinballing off the walls on the way down.
So again, I want you to imagine that you are a female and with your female friend at a party with 4 boys all in the living room. And your friend goes upstairs and 2 of the boys rush on up after her. That leaves you in the living room with the 2 other boys. In the meantime, while you're sitting in the living room, these are the noises described by Ford upstairs. The 2 boys rush up the stairs behind. Then upstairs, a rustle of contact, a commotion of the young girl being pushed into the room and the boys rushing in, a door shut and locked. And there may be another noise as Ford is thrown onto the bed and 1 boy jumps on top of her. A female scream, and then the music gets cranked up, loud laughing. The other boy jumps on the bed and roughhouses multiple times jumping on the bed, and in one of those times, they all 3 got tossed onto the floor. Then Ford bolts for the door in the bathroom, slams it shut, and locks it. Are we supposed to believe that the people down in the living room have no idea that anything's going on?
Was it loud?
No, not in the living room.
Besides the music that you've described that was playing in the bedroom, was there any other music or television or anything like that that was adding?
No.
Okay. So there wasn't a stereo playing downstairs?
No.
Okay.
Christine Ford's friend, Leland Kaiser, is not at all concerned about what is happening to her friend, where Christine Ford is, and how she is doing.
I waited, and when I did not hear them come back up the stairs, I left the bathroom, went down the same stairwell, through the living room, and left the house. I remember being on the street and feeling an enormous sense of relief that I had escaped that house and that Brett and Mark were not coming outside after me.
Later in the questioning, we are given to understand by Ford that the group is still in the living room talking, and here she explains that she leaves the bathroom, goes down the stairs, goes right through the living room, and hastily goes out to the street. What did Leland Kaiser do or say or think when her friend at the party bolts out into the street and takes off? At the time, Christine Ford lived estimated 6 to 8 miles away, and we don't know even how she got home. Dr. Ford's lawyer responded to this question by saying, as Dr. Ford has said, she did not share her story publicly or with anyone for years following the incident with Judge Kavanaugh. It is not surprising that Miss Kaiser has no recollection of the evening, as they did not discuss it. It's also unremarkable that Miss Kaiser does not remember attending a specific gathering 30 years ago at which nothing of consequence happened to her. Supposedly Kaiser is at a party with Ford and Kavanaugh. He's not a nobody. He's known as the top academic at a well-known school nearby. He is captain of the basketball team. Kaiser testified that she does not ever remember meeting Brett Kavanaugh. She does not remember the gathering described by Christine Ford. I find that a little bit strange because there's weird things going on at this party. Her friend and 2 boys, one of them being Kavanaugh, goes upstairs and there's all kinds of noise going on. After the teenagers come down, her friend, who is likely visibly upset, takes off out of the house, out to the street. Did Christine Ford go missing for a couple of hours? Did Leland Kaiser notice or care that her friend left her there? Did someone drive Christine home, and did Leland Kaiser care how her friend got home? Did Ford care that she left her friend in a house of potential rapists? Did Kaiser remember a party where something this unusual happened?
Mr. Kavanaugh and Mr. Judge were extremely inebriated. They had clearly been drinking prior, and the other people at the party were not.